This show is brought to you in part by viewers like you who joined a Patreon or become YouTube members. Thank you. And if you could, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content.
All right, so Browns had training camp practice today, and to start it off, not great news coming out of it. It was a non-contact, non-padded practice, but we have our first serious injury of the year, and it's Martin Emerson. And like more so than it feels for the team, because I don't know what the true impact would be of the team, because we didn't know what kind of performance Martin was going to give you this year, given that he was so down last year. It looked like he was starting to get on that uptick to being the Martin Emerson we remember. But really, I feel bad for Martin Emerson more so than anybody, right? I know a lot of Browns fans are going to go on their misery tour with news like this and talk about how much it sucks to be a Cleveland sports fan, all of that. But really, the person I don't feel bad for is Martin Emerson, because this injury could not have come at a more inconvenient time for him individually, right? He is not at a place where this is going to be a situation, if it is as bad as it looked, right? And he got carted off. He couldn't put weight on the knee. It was non-contact. He left with the towel over his head. That screams lower extremity muscle tear, ACL, MCL, PCL, somewhere along those lines. Probably out for, 7 to 9 months, which is going to take him out the entire 2025 season, if it is what we think it's going to be. And this is just a extremely unfortunate timing for him, right? He's in a contract year, and he's at a nexus point almost with this team, right? Like a point of either he can get paid or he cannot. I talked about him being in that same fork in the road that Donovan Peoples-Jones was at a few years ago, where Donovan Peoples-Jones, his numbers kept getting better, had a bit of a down year versus expectations, but was coming into the final year of his contract with an opportunity to get paid. Now, Donovan did not have a great year that year, ended up getting traded in the middle of it to Detroit, and the rest is history. I mean, he never got a big contract ever, or at least he doesn't seem like he's going to get a big contract anytime soon. Martin, I thought, was at a similar place where he was so good those first 2 years, and then last year, a down performance. And that is what stopped the Browns from giving him a contract extension, right? Whatever reason, he did not play well last year. That probably stops the Browns from giving him an extension this offseason, which I think would have been likely if he had played well last year. Puts him in this contract year situation where he's at the end of his rookie deal. And now he has torn his knee, it seems like, and he won't get a chance to rebound from that bad season he had. So now it's a double bad situation, right? Whereas previously, before this injury, he had the opportunity to erase that down season with a good season and point to, hey, 3 good seasons, 1 down season. I'm still young. I'm still healthy. I'm still really good. Now, in those contract negotiations, it swings violently the other way for Martin Emerson, right? Where it's not only did you have that down season is the last that we saw of you healthy, and then you tore your ACL. This went from a situation where his destiny was in his own hands, where he can win back a lucrative deal and get a pretty strong contract from the Cleveland Browns, to everything being wide open for him. I feel really bad for Martin Emerson in this situation. I know it's easy to point to yourself and feel bad for yourself if you're a Cleveland Browns fan and talk about, this is going on with the Guardians, and it sucks to be a Cleveland sports fan. Yeah, I understand that, right? But the person who's suffering the most here is Martin Emerson. That's the guy who just lost a lot when it comes to a negotiation standpoint, when it comes to what his future earnings could be. He just lost a ton of money if this is as bad as it looks. Because I don't know what happens with him in the future. He might have to sign a prove-it deal next year with the Browns and have to run this back post-ACL surgery and then be a year older in contract negotiations. It's unfortunate for Martin. Now, the Browns, fortunately, are pretty well equipped for this kind of an injury in their secondary. Would they have loved to have Martin Emerson healthy? Yes, but this is why they did not trade Greg Newsome. Now, I thought they were going to trade Greg Newsome because they had some faith in Martin Emerson, but this is why they didn't do it, to have security in case something like this happens. And now Greg Newsome's probably going to be slid over to that wide corner role, or they're going to more emphasize that slot position, or they feel good about one of the young guys that they have playing that opposite corner role. Either way, because of the surplus that the Browns have had at the corner position for the last couple of years, they are well equipped to handle this situation. So I don't think this is going to have as devastating of an impact on the Browns as some may assume, or as the news may make you feel. I think the person this has a devastating impact on, or the group of people that this has a devastating impact on, are Martin Emerson. This is tough for Martin Emerson. We'll see. Hopefully it's not as bad as it looked, but he was carted out. It's never a good sign. And that's the top story coming out of camp practice today. Let's get to everything else. So on top of the news that we got from Martin Emerson, which was not great, the Browns had a unpadded practice today. It seems like they worked mainly on situational football stuff. The rotations from the quarterbacks does not appear to have changed. I'm looking for somebody to post what the official allotment was of snaps, but I don't think it changed. I think it's Sanders with the second team, Dylan Gabriel with the second team, and then Joe Flacco with the first team. Again, as practice continues on, we'll see if that changes, right? Usually stuff doesn't really change till after the first joint practice at the very least. That's the first real observation opportunity that the Browns are going to have. So not really surprised by that. There were some clips to come out of each situational period. So let's talk about Dylan Gabriel's. Break down some of these clips that we got from practice. This first one up is this Dylan Gabriel interception here. This is pretty bad interception. Cam Mitchell gets to it here. I think what's interesting, and let's just let the play run before I do anything. And so that's the full play. What's interesting here to me is first we're going to watch Dylan Gabriel, right? And we talk about height being a factor. And he's not very tall. He's 5'11", which is short on the bottom end of the short spectrum in the NFL for a quarterback. There's like two quarterbacks shorter than him in the league. It's going to be a factor for him, right? This is the kind of stuff where it becomes a factor. Look at where he has to release this ball because Mason Graham is in his lane. You see that? He had to leave his feet to throw this football. Now, if you leave your feet to do anything, you're losing power, right? You're sacrificing power for vision here. Mason Graham does a great job. This is the thing you love about Mason Graham. There's other things Mason Graham did today that I thought were pretty impressive. But Mason Graham does a great job being he's like silicone. He's impossible to stick to, right? That's Mason Graham, right? Some defensive tackles are sticky. Mason Graham is like a ball of silicone out there. Nothing sticks to the guy, right? Gets out there out this switch and then gets loose here away from Joel, gets his hand, disrupts this play. Good work around here from DeJuan, right? Getting beat by Joe, but just pushes him out. Better feet there from DeJuan you would want to see. But intended result is the intended result. Still was successful. Mason gets free here. That forces Dylan to jump and throw this ball. He loses power. And I don't know where this ball was intended. It was probably intended for Tillman. One, wondering why he didn't see that Cam Mitchell was there, right? Throws it right to him. Probably just didn't see him. Again, had something to do with height. And then also, this ball just doesn't have the power it needs, even if Cam Mitchell was there to even make it there. Right, because this is not a powerful ball. It's launched from a high launch angle. This is a interception waiting to happen, whether it be Cam Mitchell underneath or Mahmoud Diabite breaking away with 41, breaking away from his man and getting the deflection off of Cedric Tillman off a high ball. So bad rep there by Dylan Gabriel, and kind of illustrating how his height's going to affect things for him going forward. This was also a situational drill. I talked about that before, where they're working situation, game-winning drive situation. You want to avoid making this kind of a decision on second and long in that situation, which they're currently in. You can see at the backside of your screen. Right? This one right here, if you're Gabriel, you either want to just try to scramble this one, eat it, throw it out of bounds, or maybe if you're like an arm strength genius, I'm not genius, but arm strength gangster, you could throw this corner to Harold Fainin in the back. That way it's either touchdown or nothing. But throwing this ball right here to Cedric Tillman, underthrown, feet in the air, it's like the Patrick Ewing meme, right? Do you practice that shot? You don't practice that shot. You never practice that shot. It's not a good shot. So that's that play. So nothing really newsworthy coming out of the quarterback side of today at camp. But the one thing I did find interesting is something that's been building up on top of each other is like, hey, we're talking about Mason Graham a lot. We're hearing about Mason Graham a lot. There was one rep that the Browns released from a one-on-one drill between him and Wyatt Teller that got me really excited. Here's my breakdown of it. This play right here, the coverage sack from Shedeur Sanders to end his situational drill, 4th and long. And nobody is open immediately, right? Like, I don't know what the down marker is because I can't see that in this video. Maybe, okay, so about 4th and 10, so not a good situation to be in. 4th and 10. Let me see if anybody pops up immediately. 31 does not look like he's running a route where he intends the ball to be thrown to him, so I don't think he is a real option here. I think if we're looking at this, the real options are 83 coming across and this post by DeAndre Carter. This post is covered really well by 31. He's trailing him. 31's baiting Shedeur to throw that ball. Coming across the field, 83. This is just good coverage by these linebackers. And 44 does a great job recognizing it, sitting on it, and killing it on that second window. Let me try to focus in on Shedeur in the pocket here. Little rollout here, which seems valid. Doesn't seem like anybody was immediately about to sack him. So valid rollout. Maybe a little early. I can't tell if the pocket's clean from this angle. So just take his word on that. But it feels early. Either way, I don't think he hits that second window anyways. Like that he did not roll out too far. He just kind of popped out, right? I don't mind rolling. It's when you roll all the way to like either number where it becomes problematic, right? If you just roll and then reset, that's always good, right? As long as it's necessary. So I like the roll and reset here by Shedeur. Good stuff. Feet look great on that. And then he looks at this on the second window. And that's why I like that he comes back to, right? Pretty much immediately knows you didn't get what you want coverage-wise to get this ball to DeAndre Carter, too. So he knows, okay, 83 is really what I'm looking for. I have a check down in 87, but I rolled the opposite side of that. So that check down's not really a great option here either. It's really either can you hit that second window with that dig coming across the field, or can you run for it? Can't throw the ball out of bounds. It's 4th in game, right? So, yeah, just kind of takes the sack. I don't know. Maybe you want him to make that throw. I don't know if that ends the way he wants it to. But maybe you just want him to take the throw because it is 4th and long situation. So maybe that's a valid thing you could say, hey, you got to pull the trigger in that kind of a situation because you don't want to end the game on a sack. So that's I guess that's my only criticism of this clip is end of play trying to do something positive, whether it be running for yards or throwing the ball, if it's a turnover, it's a turnover. It's going to be a turnover if you take the sack anyway. So I don't care if it's a negative result here in this situation, right? Dylan Gabriel's situation we looked at, that was second down. Like, you can eat the ball at that point. Fourth down, I want you to just do something. So, maybe you want him to throw it, but I don't think that's going to be completed anyway. So I don't look at it as a missed opportunity. I can't tell from the backside, but it looks like 31's thoroughly covered by 25 as well. Yeah, 44 does a great job killing this second window because he doesn't carry with Carter to try to go underneath and undercut that post. He sticks in his zone and he stays at the numbers, and that pretty much kills that window unless Shedeur is super accurate on time and anticipates that, and he's still rehitching by the time that ball needs to be out. So there was really no shot that was going to happen there, right? Only thing you can ask or wonder for this rep to go better for Shedeur, and again, we're talking about perfect, so I'm not judging him off of this. I think this is fine for Shedeur. So I know some people are going to get sensitive because I'm not saying something positive, but I don't look at this rep as a negative for him. Keep that in mind. The question is, hey, did he leave the pocket early? I think there's room to say he left it a little early, but I can't really tell from this angle. And then I like the reset, reshuffling, Did that cost you that second window? And also just in this situation, give somebody a chance to do something, But it's their first situational football drill of the year, so I'm not expecting perfection from the guy. And I think anybody expecting perfection from him is being a bit obtuse, if I'm being honest with you. So fine enough rep by Shedeur. Would have loved to see him give somebody a chance, but yeah. Not really anything I'm hold against him. So that's that day of camp. Not the most eventful day on the practice field. Really more notable because Martin Emerson went down. We'll see if the Browns can recover from that injury well. Hope that Martin Emerson can have a speedy recovery, obviously, and hope that it's not as bad as it sounds. But that's my thoughts. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace. All right, this rep that we saw out of what looks like a one-on-one with Mason Graham and Wyatt Teller gets me really excited. 7-second clip, but a lot of excitement in it. Let's run through why this is impressive. So first things first. Good rep here by Mason Graham, right? So let's slow it down and back it up. Gets into the chest of Wyatt. Gets Wyatt to overstep here, right? And this is a pass rush, right? He wouldn't do this in a run game. This is just about instincts, too. Can you feel the punches in a fight? Because in a game, you're probably not going to get this much time to get to the quarterback, right? And it's why guys look way more impressive in one-on-ones than you see them in games, because you just don't get this kind of time. But it's just about filling out what your instincts are. Do you have that instinct to counterpunch, and are your counterpunches effective? And this is where Mason Graham shines, right? So gets Wyatt to overset here, feels the overset immediately. So right about here, he feels it, right? Gets the overset, plants the foot, rolls around, and then gets him off his body. So I know people were worried about if he's strong enough, right? Or if he's in shape. I thought that was ridiculous. But yeah, this guy looks like he's in shape. Does a great job filling, rolling, and then look at the dip here, man. This is what's impressive. This is what gets me excited, right? Filling it, rolling it, and then this is a vet-like spin move, right? Look at the feet on this. This is clean work here. Boom, 1, 2. Not a lot of wasted steps there. And then even more impressive, look how sharp he cuts this angle north to the quarterback, right? He doesn't let Wyatt to take him a degree away from where he wants to be because he dips, and then he uses his bend here, which is his best asset as a defensive tackle. I think that's his elite asset. I think it's really hard for some folks to identify because a lot of people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But this, when you see it, you see its effectiveness. Look at that bet. Look, that guy's done. This is a great rep from him, right? Again, what he gets there about 2.25, 3 seconds it takes him to get there. So maybe you don't got the time in most situations to finish this rush in a game. And then you're probably going to have a double team on you if you keep doing this in regular season games. So the opportunity is not going to be there to see this a ton, but it's just showing you that the skill set is there. And that's why they took the guy number 5 overall. Let's run it back one more time. Right. So again, gets in there and then does a great job. He forces the veteran, right? This is an all-pro in Wyatt Teller, too. This ain't no scrub. All-pro in Wyatt Teller. Good on good. Gets him to overset, feels it immediately, and you can just tell Wyatt's like, oh, fuck. Let the rook beat me. And then tries to reach back, right? He tries to hold here. Tries to hold. Can't really get a grip because what does Mason do? He changes that target, right? 95 goes from being up here, and then look how low he dips it. Boom. Next thing he knows, right where that hand was is where his shoulder is. He changes the target on him. This is phenomenal work, right? This is why stuff like dip matters, because look how dangerous that hand is if it stays there for Wyatt, because if he can put that hand there, get a good grip on it, what he can do is bring that other hand around, set his body and his feet back, anchor, and then move him. Right, but when he changes the strike zone for Wyatt, where that arm's going to land naturally from his chest to his shoulder, it takes all of that away. So now you see Wyatt try to swing that arm around and get a hold of Mason to re-angle, reset. You can look at the big ass smile on Mason's face. He knows he got him. He cooked him. Right, he knows that that's what Wyatt's going to want to do. Wyatt can't swing around and grab him now because that's his shoulder. And now when he puts his hand on him, it's not his side that he's putting his hand on him and locking him down. It's his back. So all that hand is doing now is accelerating Mason Graham forward. That's a great rep. He knows it. Look how fast he is off the sprint. He knows he just had a great one. Good job there by Mason Graham. Again, one more time here. If you're not in the defensive tackle play, man, like, I don't know how a rep like this doesn't get you fired up, you know? Like, not getting fired up about something like this, to me, is just, like, so foreign. But this is great. This is great right here. Good rip. Changes the target on him. It's like watching boxing to me, right? The angle there, you can see Wyatt, like, all right, let me reset, get my hand there. He changes the target on him, and Wyatt's like, you got me. Sacks Baker Mayfield. Does that guy look a little bit like Baker's brother? All right. But yeah, great rep by Mason Graham. Love to see stuff like this. And look, you've been hearing good stuff out of Mason Graham, from Mason Graham, all camp. I expect defensive tackles to be a little behind, but man, a rep like that against a guy like Wyatt Teller, that's really exciting to me. And if this is the kind of player Mason Graham can be on a consistent basis, and if this is the skill set, and he hasn't even developed that NFL strength yet, that's really something that if he continues to shine like this, especially in joint practice situations, you should really get excited about if you're a Cleveland Browns fan. Might not mean he's going to get like 10 sacks or anything like that, but this level of disruption, this level of penetration, you know, that's an impressive thing for a guy to have at Mason's size and position.